Good evening, everyone. So before I begin, I want to apologize to everyone for a little technical glitch, but don't worry, we are back. A warm welcome to all the viewers. My name is Advocate Himanshu Nagarkar. I practice at the Bombay High Court. Today's session, it's about the dispute resolution, and we have two amazing, great personalities who are actually going to be our guest speakers. Today's session has been hosted by the Art of Living uh, in association with Sakal and TAG, the ADR group. And I'm going to be the host for it, Advocate Himanshu Nagarkar. Once again, a warm welcome to everyone. Today, in this entire the viewers which we have many law colleges, we have a lot of legal fraternity who is present, honorable judges, lawyers, counselors, law students, and also a lot of non-legal students or people who are present out here. So a warm welcome to all. So without further ado, let me introduce our two esteemed speakers. The first speaker is Honorable Justice Mehta, and along with him is going to be his daughter, Prachi Mehta. These two speakers are going to speak on resolving disputes through mediation and avoiding litigation route for our matters, now whether they are big or small. Now the two speakers, which I'm very soon going to get them on the screen, are a unique combination of a father and a daughter working together tirelessly on development of peacemaking processes such as mediation, conciliation, and other alternate dispute resolutions or redressals. Yeah. Now let me introduce you one big personality. Yes, Sir Honorable Justice M.L. Mehta. So Justice Mehta is a former judge for the Delhi High Court. He is being the pioneer of mediation in the country and is known for his innovative and creative leadership. He has been contributing in upgrading and modernizing the entire judicial system. As a matter of fact, sir, when I also met you through the Art of Living workshop, in which you made many mediators around to work, and I have to tell you that that training was one of the best trainings which I've ever attended in my life. Yeah. Further introducing him, he is known for his passion in settlement of disputes through mediation, and I would like to tell all the viewers that it is a staggering number that till date he has mediated more than 2,000 cases. In fact, recognizing his work in the field of mediation and conciliation, he was the first Asian to be honored by the JAMS Foundation US as the most outstanding international commercial dispute resolver. He has also established Delhi Dispute Resolution Society as a joint venture of Delhi government and Delhi High Court, and in process established 15 mediation centers in different parts of Delhi and continues to supervise and oversee these as its founder chairman. He imparted training to the lawyers and judges in mediation and has helped establish a large number of mediation centers, not just in Delhi, but across the country under the aegis of Supreme Court Committee. He has authored various papers on legal matters and mediation and has actively contributed in preparing National Manual of Training of Supreme Court. He has been visiting scholar at Stanford Law School, California, and lecturing LLM students there on ADR. Uh, I would like to say that a lot of judges and a lot of legal fraternity today who have undergone the training of mediation and conciliation and alternate dispute resolution, a big credit goes to Justice Mehta. Yeah. So, sir, thank you so much for being a part of this. And it is my honor to introduce Ms. Prachi Mehta. Ms. Prachi Mehta is also with us today. She's a founder and a managing partner of TAG, the ADR group. She started her career 15 years ago in New York as a lawyer and quickly evolved to becoming a dispute settlement specialist. She is a graduate of St. Stephen's College and studied law at Delhi University and New York University. She did her advanced course in mediation from Harvard Law School and worked as a visiting fellow at Stanford Law School to research and develop mechanisms for Indian industry and companies to effectively use mediation for the resolution of their dispute. The hallmark is she has been awarded the prestigious title of Winston's JAMS Fellow in recognition of her commitment to alternate dispute resolution and to constructive resolution of conflict internationally. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. I'll not take further time. I will go into the question answer session. The format of this session is going to be Q&A. Me as a host, I'll be asking certain questions to our honored panelists. Sir, my first question to you is, what exactly is mediation? There's a lot of different fraternity who is here. There are certain people from the law fraternity and certain from non-legal fraternity as well. So we all would like to know what is mediation and what are the different aspects of it. Yeah, I request the technical team to kindly get both the speakers on board.
But for the benefit of those and for the knowledge of and information of those who are non-legal fraternity from that side. So it is basically a process which is distinct from the procedure. It's basically a process wherein the disputing parties try to resolve their dispute with the help of a third neutral person. It is a very, very interactive and informal process. Though it is very flexible and structured process, but the mediator here acts only as a facilitator to help the parties resolve their disputes. Well, the mediator here, as a neutral person, he facilitates with his arsenal of techniques and skills, which are human dynamic skills, which are negotiation techniques. And all these mediators who do all this, they are all trained, certified, and qualified mediators. So the role of mediator here would be only to facilitator, and in some cases it may be evaluator, which can be only at the reality checking place. So basically this is a process wherein the disputing parties get their cases or dispute resolved with the help of a third neutral person who acts as a facilitator and who guides them through their litigation and the disputes and tries to undergo to their underlying interests and tries to see that the goal of the parties is accomplished by resolution of disputes. The mediator here focuses only and only on the continuity of communication between the parties, and he centers and revolves around the parties accomplishing their underlying interests, because the mediation is a win-win process. So unless the parties are able to meet their underlying interests, they will not come to a settlement. So to repeat it again, mediation is a process where both the parties seek the help of a neutral third person who helps them to facilitate their dispute and help them resolve their disputes. This is precisely what is mediation all about. Now, with regard to the second aspect as to what are the aspects and the features of mediation, mediation is a basically cooperative problem solving phenomena where both the parties have the capacity, power, and intelligence, and which the mediator recognizes. Because in the mediation, the mediator recognizes that the parties who own the dispute, they are capable of resolving the disputes. So he respects their dignity, he respects their competence, he respects their responsibility, and he encourages them to resolve their disputes. So, meaning thereby that the parties have the capacity of self-determination, which means they can decide their own dispute, they can continue to be in the mediation process, or they can walk out anytime, whatever they feel like. If they are feeling uncomfortable, if they are feeling that they are not going towards the constructive resolution, or there are certain other reasons, then they can always self-determine and walk out. It's a voluntary process, and the beauty of this is, the beauty of mediation is that it is a win-win. Both the parties go out win-win. Unless both the parties go out win-win, then they will not resolve it. And the other beauty is it gives finality and certainty, which is not there in other dispute resolution processes. By the finality, I mean that once you resolve your dispute, which is your own dispute, there is neither any appeal, neither any revision, and there is no further litigation which remains. So that attains finality. It brings out magics. Magics in the sense, it is not only that mediation centers around the dispute which is in the which is the boiling mind of the parties, but the mediator with his dynamic skills brings them to the situation where they have not even contemplated that they may have this kind of dispute in future. So he tries to find the ways that where the disputes which are between the parties existing and which may arise in future are not only resolved but dissolved. So I say mediation basically dissolves the disputes which are existing and which may exist in future. So that's precisely the features and the concept of mediation, as you asked me.
I mean, it was really in very simple words and so less time it was explained. Sir, my next question is, sir, you have been instrumental in a number of complex civil, commercial, multi-party, and a high-stake cases as a mediator. Sir, my question to you is, can you please share a little experience on how this mediation can be or has been an effective tool in resolving disputes?
Well, there are large number of such examples where I have myself seen, and I never expected that the parties who come before us will be able to resolve the disputes in such a short time. But it all depends how the mediator takes those cases, those disputes. I say, if a case is taken by a mediator at an appropriate time, by applying appropriate skills and appropriate techniques, it will settle appropriately. So, a case which is not handled appropriately may not only bring the opposite results, but it can be disastrous. That ongoing relations between the parties can further spoil. So I always say, okay, it is better to equip yourself before taking up the task of mediating. Now, whatever the skills and the tools and the techniques a mediator applies in a particular case may not be applicable in the other case. As lawyers, you must have seen, which I also can certainly say with all confidence and authenticity, in my whole career of about 37 years in legal profession, and even after no post-retirement, I have not come across any case which is similar or identical. All cases have little or bit some or the other difference between the other ones. Now, I'll tell you a very latest example. Before COVID, these unprecedented circumstances started, and on the day of the lockdown, which was declared, there was a case which was going on with us. That was a young couple, not very newly married, but married for 8 years, and had 2 children, or both the minor children, one very small and the other 7-8-year-old. And they had been having strange relations for 3 years, living separately. You can imagine the kind of situation we were facing. A mother living with the 2 small kids separately, and the father not getting the meeting or the custody rights of the children. And he was full of agony, full of trauma. And as a result, we had to, in one of our sessions, we had to take the help of a psychologist. And we were expecting that things will further worsen. We may have to have the help of some psychiatrist also. But this unprecedented circumstances helped us in the sense, at that point of time, I advised the couple to live separately. They were living to live together. And she happily agreed when she was informed that it may be difficult for her to live separately during this period and life is uncertain. So let us do that way. Both of them decided to move to in-laws' house. Now, with our guidance inputs from time to time, now the situation has come. Now they are going to stay permanently together. And all these issues, which had a lot of shortcomings, lot of difficulties, each one of those have been handled appropriately and very skillfully. So we are happy to say that this young couple, we started with the meeting right of the father, then visiting right of the father, then overnight stay of the children, then gradually visiting of the father to parents' house, his parents' house along with the wife. So that all different skills at different times. So I'm very confident that in very couple of few days, and that the couple is going to stay permanently once for all. So this is one of the examples which is created magic. So when the couple came, not only that we were thinking of we will have some psychiatrist, other we were thinking have to take him to some medical treatment also, because they both were at the state of depression. So now they are out, it's okay. They are happily meeting, they're going out, whatever, and as permitted, they're happily trying to work together in the common house. Yes.
What you shared is indeed very, I mean, it's, I think mediation is not just something to do with the legal thing, but it's also such a noble thing of mending lives of so many. What you shared right now is, making people come out of that trauma, the stress, the emotional turbulence, and a lot more. So sir, I think it's one of the most noble things that can happen. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful insight. So my next question is, now to this is with regard to all the legal fraternity which is present out here. Now, as a member of legal fraternity, what is very shocking to see is that there has been a sudden surge in disputes. Now these disputes could be commercial, it could be between companies, domestic violence cases, matrimonial dispute. So sir, here I think the role of mediation, the role of mediator, it plays a very important role. So, sir, you just mentioned right now, before the whole COVID thing. Now, after this COVID thing, the stress factor is going to increase even more. There are going to be different stresses which people will have to go through. So, my question is, what role will mediation play in a dispute resolution during and post this difficult, challenging times? So, what exactly this mediation will play? What role will mediation
Well, Himanshu, I tell you frankly, uh, those who know me, they may recall some time back when the mediation was started in India, and we were questioned as to what are we going to do, and some of your lawyers even also opposed it, and rather they resisted to any level. And but I had said that mediation has come and is going to stay. Now this, which is unprecedented time, has brought a lot of problems, a lot of challenges also. But it's not only the problem, but a lot of opportunities also, particularly for the lawyers and young lawyers. As you say, this during COVID and post-COVID period, there is going to be surge of litigation. And what I'm forcing is the cases will be primarily domestic, matrimonial, commercial, contractual, and landlord-tenant disputes. So most of these cases will be based on contractual performance of obligations, rights and obligations of the parties, non-performance by one, and the other filing or giving notice of initiation of the legal litigation. So there are cases which are going to certainly increase, and this is going to increase the burden on the courts. But at the same time, the people who are already afraid of the legal system, they will be further frightened because the dates will be longer in the courts. So I think the people will prefer to go for mediation. Some of the cases will have the settlement based on the contracts. Some of the cases will have elements of settlement based on the statute laws. Others will have the elements of settlement based on equity, because equity is going to play a big role in settlement of these disputes, particularly the commercial and the contractual disputes. Both the parties may not be feeling advantage of litigation. So the time is ripe that most of these cases are likely to go to the mediation rooms, and it will all depend upon us as legal professionals, that whether we are able to take responsibility and legal obligation, which is the healer of conflicts, if we really realize. So here is a situation where we will see that the law is changing with the society. Law will change with the society. The society is wanting the change in the law. It will be difficult for the society at large to go to the courts. So certainly there will be of changes which will be made in the laws. I am reminded of Kennedy saying once, law is life, law goes with the change of the society. And if you look at the past or the present, you are bound to miss the future. So we have to be alive of the situation that past was past, present is present, and the future is going to be different, entirely different for all of us. It is going to be different for the medical professional. It's going to be different for legal professional. It is going to be different. Now, all that, the stimulation of the court room, where we all intend to forget that we intend to forget that as a legal professional, we are the healers of conflicts of the humans. The system what we have, all of you know, is too tardy, too difficult, too painful. So the society will welcome any mechanism which is acceptable to them, gives acceptable resolutions. By the acceptable resolutions, I am again going back to the one which gives win-win and certainty. So that will be acceptable, and which is less expensive, which is timely, and which minimizes their stress. So in my own words, I tried to say what Justice Warren Burger said, the former Chief Justice of Supreme Court. This is what he said it. So it's our responsibility as legal professional to be alive to the situation. So I think the time is good for all of you to equip yourself with the technology, with the knowledge of the subject, and also with the dynamics of mediation processes. So every case I got, as my feeling, every case has got elements of settlement. This depends on the attitude of the parties, attitude of the lawyers, attitude of the mediator. How do we take it? So attitude is very important. So we need to think differently now. We have to develop, unless we develop a settlement culture, we will not be able to maintain and sustain the trust and the confidence that the people are having in our system, legal fraternity. So for maintaining the trust and the confidence in the system, that is the legal system, we all exist for the legal system. Our consumer is the litigant. If we are not able to meet to the satisfaction in the process and the outcome, they will throw us out. They will start mistrusting us. So they will not accept what we do. So I think is a time and opportunity for all of us to go beyond, think out of the box, and not only confined to only the court litigation. Of course, I am not saying that the court litigation is not, but there are certain cases which need not to go to the court at all, which rather, when they go to the court, they further spoil the social fabric and the social harmony. So we need to take out those cases which need not to go to the court at all. So that is, I think, the time is right for all of us. So be ready, make use of this opportunity. And the biggest opportunity which is coming, I'm telling you, this is my feeling, that the people who are not coming to the courts or the legal system because they are afraid of going to the court, even the domestic people, because of their face savings, because of they don't want to watch the leader in the public, because of their egos, status egos, they will also come out. They need not to suffer silently further. Likewise, the foreigners who are settled abroad, they will also come out and try to get their cases resolved. Likewise, international commitments. We have a lot of economic international commitments. So people are looking towards our legal system. So what I'm saying is we need to have a mechanism by which we provide quick, inexpensive, timely, and stress-free resolution of disputes.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, that I think covered the entire canvas of how exactly do we go about the whole mediation process. So moving forward to a little difficult ask of mediation, I think which can commonly be called as the community mediation. Yeah, I think that's one segment where mediation faces the toughest battle. So, sir, I would really like to know a little views on since you have been the pioneer of community mediation in India, what exactly is this community mediation, and how successful is community mediation in resolving the complex conflicts amicably? Really, if you can throw some light on it, that will be great.
Well, as the name suggests, community mediation, it is explains that the mediation of the disputes of the community by the community. So in fact, you see, the DDRS was formed with that objective only, because having seen that large number of cases are blocking the entire legal system, and most of those cases are so trivial, so petty, so small, they have gone to the courts because those small differences, maybe within the family, within the neighborhood, within the traders, RWAs, schools, hospitals, all our neighborhood, parks, parking, pets, repairs, painting, these small cases. And so much so, a person asking for more curry, chicken curry, and the owner not giving, and he was shot dead. So these small cases are unnecessarily why this aggression has gone that high in our minds. Tolerance has gone to the lowest ever level, lowest degree. So these are your areas. I mean, meditation, which will take care of all those things. Your responsibility is also increasing simultaneously. But basically, the concept of community mediation was that a mediator who may be from the community himself will help the community, his own community, to resolve the disputes. So, and those cases will be filtered at this stage, because those are the cases which we viewed need not to go to the court at all. And if these cases are Himanshu not handled appropriately at appropriate time, they get aggravated. And we have seen small cases within a family getting aggravated, maybe because of ego, maybe because of the dressing sense, maybe because the breakfast on the table is not to the likes of everyone in the house. Dressing is not proper, haircut is not proper. I mean, outing is, and so many issues. So if they are not being handled appropriately, they get aggravated. And then in one or the other forums, they go to either to the police or to the court. So the idea of community mediation was that only, to filter those cases. One, because may not get aggravated and go to the courts or the police. Second, may not burden the courts. Third, to create ultimate social harmony within the society. So this is basic community mediation. And the beauty of community mediation is, because this takes care of the neighborhood disputes, family disputes, there's no need of the lawyers. I always request the lawyers to, these are the opportunities for you to give back to the society. And at least you may, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a week, or in a month, devote some time and take care of those people who are suffering in the neighborhood, and they are suffering silently, and they are avoiding going to the and they are not aware of the facilities available. So, but in a case within the community, if there's a complex, as you say, then the community mediator can seek the help of and guidance of the mediator who has a legal background. So our setup is that way only. So we have the community mediators who are the lawyers, doctors, engineers, chartered accountants. They are there. And people of public spirited And many people practicing art of living also, they are our mediators. So it's not necessary that one should be having a legal background or 10 years of practice or having undergone the mediation training program to be a community mediator. Success rate is very good. Now I think we are nearing about 50%. And it is because the percentage is increasing. It is because of the lack of awareness, which is increasing now. Number two, the community which is coming is not assisted by the lawyers. Most of the cases, they are without lawyers. So this is the handicap, because either they are not able to afford, they are small people, they are not able to afford, or the lawyers are not able to take up or not prepared to take those small cases. So either way, the community mediation percentage is little less than the other mediation, which are court-next mediation or the private mediation.
That was really a big encyclopedia on the community mediation, sir. Moving forward to Prachi Mehta, ma'am. Ma'am, you have also extensively been involved in the community mediation. Can you tell us about your work in that particular front? That how exactly this whole community mediation has been your forte? You can throw some light on it, please.
Sure. So, apart from our private mediations, we have partnered with certain organizations like Art of Living, where we help train their own teachers to become mediators. And the idea behind is basically to help these teachers take back mediation to their villages, cities, tier two cities, or metro cities, or their small districts, and help the people there as mediators, because they have a large disciple following. They also have people who like to listen to them for other various reasons. So these are the people who can actually convince the fiber of the country, and they can actually bring the real change. And I know that the times have been very unprecedented right now. So certain organizations like AOL, Art of Living, has also launched this anxiety helpline. And if there are cases on that where people need any sort of assistance in terms of mediation, they do reach out to these teachers who are trained. And in certain severe cases, they're also welcome to reach us. So we've sort of trying to build a fabric there where people can take assistance without having to have a very big outreach. And there are other organizations also like Sakhiri, which are specifically targeted towards women facing a difficult time at home during these lockdown times. And we are also helping there to see if there are cases that need any assistance from us on a pro bono matter. And I also want to mention in this respect that mediation, whether community, whether private, whether court annexed, I have seen immense success where domestic and family matters are concerned. The success rate is extremely high, probably because people want a continuing relationship. Even if you're divorcing, you do share a child or certain common grounds. And even if you're settling a dispute with your brother or sister, you do want a continuing relationship in these circumstances. So community mediation, private mediation, all kick in very, very well.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable inputs. And it's such a nice thing that different organizations are coming forward for the community mediation aspect, because what you rightly said is, these organizations are the one who are into the masses, who are into so many people, that they can actually get some kind of a mediation or uh, some kind of a meaning out of it. Yeah. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, ma'am, for throwing a light on that. Now, my next question is what your domain is, what your forte is. That you are a specialist in dealing with the implicit biases during the mediation process. Yeah. For all our viewers, can you please throw some light on what exactly is the meaning of implicit bias and how to deal with it during the mediation process?
Sure. So that is a topic very close to my heart. So, first to discuss what is implicit bias, so we have a fair understanding before I give an example for it. So, as normal human beings, we have stereotypes pop in our head every now and then. And frankly, they're quite regular. But they don't make us a sexist or a racist or whatever it is that we want to call it. It just means that your brain is working properly, because you're able to observe patterns, you're able to generalize, make generalizations, And in ancient times, it was very important for human being survival to be able to do these things, these complex patternizing, so that they could stay alive. But these same thought processes, which help us generalize, sometimes help us overgeneralize and take us to the side of being biased towards a certain community, race, ethnicity, gender. And unfortunately, these are unconscious. So we don't have a control over them unless we actually actively seek out to understand what our biases are and how we can deal with them. They're completely activated involuntarily. So you would never know when you're acting biased. You might be thinking you're the biggest feminist in the world, and you might be thinking the woman should be cooking in the kitchen at the same time without actually realizing it. So, and also the study shows that the implicit bias starts as early as 3 years. So to give you a very simple example, there are two children, this actually happened. There are two children in a preschool, both under the age of 5 years old, and one is very fair skinned and the other is on the darkish side. The fair skinned child makes an observation to this friend that you're the color of the poop. The other child is very appalled and starts crying. The mother comes to school to talk. Well, there's nothing wrong in the observation. I mean, the observation is an observation that this is true. The colors are similar. But if you do not check it at the right time in the right way, the observation will turn into a pattern, and it will turn into a racial discrimination based on color or gender or whatever it comes at that point. Couldn't be necessarily the same thing in every case. Also, to give you a very recent example which happened, I was working on an international matter, and we had two parties from two different countries. And I had a co-mediator who I'm going to say out loud was white and Christian. And we decided to go in the car together to the mediation because we wanted to discuss the aspects of it. And both of us were talking about it. And at one point, she actually ended up saying, I'm not sure if I want to rely on the briefs of this person because of the country that person is from. And that statement shook us. And frankly, I was thinking the same thing, but I just didn't say it out loud. But it immediately helped us both realize that something's going on here. And we have discriminated against a whole country. I mean, it's a fairly large implicit bias against someone. So we were very glad that we realized it before walking into the room, and we actually made a mechanism of how we are going to check each other on making sure that we don't go overboard. So I think we were on our toes that whole mediation, figuring out that is the other one crossing the line or something. So happy to report it settled very well. Everybody's interests were taken care of. But what would have happened had we not recognized it? So, it can go extremely dangerously for the parties involved. It can go extremely dangerously for our self-reputation also. And had we not realized it, it would have caused a havoc in that person's life because the case was of such a matter. Now, there are certain things as a mediator and also as just general human beings you can do to help control these actions and thoughts. And this is first and foremost is educate yourself. You can go online. There's several implicit bias tests that kind of tell you where your bias is leaning towards. And by the way, they keep changing with the patterns you observe. One day you might feel that a Black person is a more dangerous person to be near. And then you see all the school shootings which have happened in the US and you realize, oh, most of them are white people. So, they change. And I'm giving international examples here so that it's more clear. And there are also implicit association tests on the Harvard website, which you can look at. And how can you actually, once you recognize the biases, how can you actually make sure that you're taking care of them? First and foremost is slow down. Think about what you're going to say, be considerate about others' feelings and your responses as well. Always challenge and ask questions to yourself about your assumptions. When you're assuming that this person has come to you for XYZ reason, when something else is written in the brief, that's something you need to question yourself about and actively imagine the thoughts and feelings of the parties involved. It really helps as a mediator to think where they're coming from. Their reality might be very different from your reality. And in the end, which is a lot of fun actually to do, is make a very diverse group of friends because they bring in more social acceptability. You learn about new cultures, about new people, and it just helps you become a better person in the long run too, and popular.
Yeah, in fact, what you said, ma'am, is so true. Like when you were talking right now, there could at least be 10 implicit biases which came in my mind about the whole things that are going on, about even with this whole COVID situation. You know, there have been so many
Absolutely.
biases that are there in everyone's mind. Yeah. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, ma'am. So probably my last question would be that with something which is very close to me. In fact, I would like to tell all my viewers that the first time that I met Mehta sir and Prachi ma'am was when I underwent a mediation program with them. Yeah, let me be very honest. I went there with a very small expectation that I'm going to learn and I thought, being in practice for so many years, I thought I knew what mediation is. But there, when I went, I actually understood that I didn't even know 10% of what mediation is. And Mehta sir and Prachi ma'am amazingly told us and actually imparted beautiful knowledge on how exactly the mediation is to be done. So, sir, my meeting with you was through the Art of Living. Actually, we were a bunch of Art of Living mediators who were there, and we underwent the mediation program. And there, I remember you had very explicitly said. In fact, this question is to both Prachi ma'am and sir, that what are your thoughts on how whole mediation and meditation is interlinked? Yeah. So I've always been heard that the meditation plays a very important part of in being a mediator. So if you can throw some light on it, so it'll be a great thing.
Himanshu, I can tell you, because you have undergone the practices of meditation, you can be a very good mediator. So, having said that, it is not only for you, it is for all of lawyers like you who undergo the processes and the practices of meditation. They will make very good lawyers and very good mediators. So, meditation and mediation, I rate them very closely related. They're very closely related and they complement each other. When we say that spirituality in mediation, so when I talk about spirituality in mediation, one of the aspects which I talk about is mind. It is not the spirituality of the religion which is relevant in mediation. This religion, that religion, or what is the practices of one religion or the other religion. When I say spirituality, it is more, I find, in the people who have undergone or who do the practices of meditation. What do we do in meditation? You observe the breath and reach calmness. So by observing your breath, you reach to the serene stage and your calmness and silence of that stage where there is no thought. And you are to yourself in that abundant consciousness, unconsciously consciousness, wisdom, knowledge, everything comes on its own. There's no thought, there's no negative thought. So when your mind is so disciplined and balanced, you can certainly properly observe the breath of others in mediation. Having observed your breath in meditation, you observe the breath of the disputing parties, fighting parties who are in trouble, who are in turmoil, who are in a lot of traumas, who are warring with each other. And you can imagine the kind of aggression and the fights they are undergoing. So all that, what is going on in them, you will be able to read those and observe those breaths when you are yourself calm. A troubled mind can't help the troubled people. So to help the troubled ones or disturbed ones, there has to be a calm person or calm mind. What do we do in meditation? You meet your own, back to your own psychology. You deal with your own psychology. In mediation, you deal with the psychology of people present before you. Here you observe your breath. There you observe the breath of the present over there. And what do we require in your meditation? You require a very calm and quiet environment. Also mediation, you require very calm and quiet environment to make the parties comfortable. So unless you are so meditated, you have reached that stage. Whenever I feel my mind is disturbed, I think I am not able to do my job satisfactorily in mediation. In mediation, and so is in meditation, there is no other things. You have to yourself. No multitasking, no disturbance. So is in both the cases. So that's what I say. They're complementary. They go closer to each other. There's only a difference of one T, which is more additional in meditation, which is not there in mediation. And that T is the time when you got a time to devote to yourself, do meditation, to be a good mediator. So the time is for the meditation, which normally we do not have. We don't have the time for ourselves. We have time for other things, WhatsApp and so many things, but not for ourselves. So I think mediation is, to do good mediation, it's very important for every one of us, every one of the lawyers and the judges and the people involved in the legal fraternity, because a lot of presence of mind is required. You will, unless your mind is disturbed, Himanshu, you will not be able to connect with the people. So connectivity, genuine connectivity with the people will come only when you are able to show that you belong to the dispute. You are involved in the dispute. And then they will throw everything on you. Then they will open up. So once you make them open up as much as you reach to their underlying interests, and you do better mediation. So for every lawyer who has to do mediation, I would suggest meditation should be a part of mediation. And in some of the mediations, we do it also. In the mediation which we did for Art of Living, in every morning session, we used to have meditation for a few minutes. Then we used to have few minutes before the lunch and few minutes after the end of the session. So this is basically disciplining your mind and mediation, and disciplining the mind of the others in mediation. So our job gets more complemented and gets satisfactory result when we do meditation. So they are very important for each other. Thank you.
So nice. I mean, what I like the most about it is the T, the time factor. You know, that's something which is like so important. The time factor in both meditation and mediation. Yeah, and the distinction it was just amazing. Prachi ma'am, your thoughts
Yeah.
on this,
No,
please.
I completely agree with Justice Mehta here. I also think any type of biases and prejudices that you end up holding because of untrue or incomplete information or generalizing patterns that you see can actually be very effectively controlled with meditation. You are able to see your thoughts very clearly and also control your subconscious mind, which leads you to control any negative action coming out of these thoughts. So I completely agree that a very calm mind leads to a better meditator, and what better than meditation?
In fact, I would really like to take this opportunity to tell all our viewers that the Art of Living has launched something called as the IAHV, which is International Association for the Human Values, where all the different meditators and the mediators, of course, they are coming together and doing something good for the community. Yeah. So one leg of the Art of Living project, I would be very happy to share that there is something called as the Art of Living Helpline. Yeah. Ma'am, if I have your permission, if you can tell a little bit about it, or
Yeah, sure, sure.
please.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a helpline which we have, and it's absolutely free of cost. We do not charge anything for this. And whatever is bothering you because of this whole lockdown anxiety, it could be personal, job, career, it could be interpersonal, it could be anything. Whatever is the anxiety that is bothering you, not letting you be free, please feel free to call us, to reach out to us. The number is 08067612338. Again, I repeat, which is there on the screen, is 08067612338. I'm very happy to share that everything, whatever is shared on this particular helpline, is completely kept confidential, and it is present in all the possible languages, the major languages which are spoken in India, and it is our little bit from the Art of Living organization for to do something good for the community. Yeah. So that is what the whole thing is. Yeah. So Justice Mehta sir, any last words about the whole session which we have had? And Prachi ma'am, again I'm going to come to you too. Any last words that you want to mention about it?
The last word, I have so many words to say, but you see, if it is the last word, the last word would be from my side to all of you: not litigate, but mediate. Because you see, I've seen both. The kind of satisfaction which I have got in satisfying the parties present before me in resolving the disputes, I think it's tremendous, no match. Writing a judgment would be more easy than helping the parties to resolve their disputes. Before the judge, there's a problem and there's a person, and he sees the file and decides it. So is a lawyer. But in mediation, or when you are dealing with the disputes, you are dealing with various P's. You are dealing with a person, you are dealing with a problem, their problem, you are dealing with their psychologies, so many persons. So many P's are involved. Each person has different psychology, different perception of his case or her case. So I think as healer of conflict of the humans, we should take upon ourselves as our responsibility to at least try to see that those cases which don't require litigation, which don't require adjudication, are resolved through the mechanism of mediation or conciliation. I'm not saying that all the cases need to go to the mediation, but at least let us target those cases which need not have gone to the court or need not to go to the court. Let us filter those cases. And that's what I say. Let us change our mindsets. Let's change our attitudes. If we go on the past and the present, we keep on doing the same thing, we'll get the same results. Delays and delays and delays and tensions and tensions. We have to think differently now. Opportunities are coming. Think out of the box, avail these new opportunities and make use of them.
Prachi ma'am, your any thoughts, last words on our
Yes,
session?
sure. So I think my message is more targeted towards the youngsters who might be listening. I've very recently gone through what you might be feeling. You want to be a corporate lawyer, you want to be a litigator. I've been there, done that. I did that in New York, I did that in California, done that in India. But there is nothing like mediation. It is absolutely the most beautiful tool that has come out of the legal profession. It just takes disputes and resolves them in a manner that actually brings relations together and builds a better society. So when you see the effects of it, you will understand what it means. Also, monetarily, contrary to popular belief, you can actually build a very strong practice in it. So please do think about it and think about how you can empower yourself more in it so that people actually seek you out.
Great. Thank you so much. I mean, I relived the whole 7 days of the mediation program which I had undergone. Actually, it was really interesting, and I look forward to do more and more programs with Justice Mehta sir and Prachi ma'am. It would be my honor to be a part of some program in which I can take because I think more than fighting it in the courtroom and doing the same old processes and the evidences and the civil procedures and this procedure, I think mediation has some much better value to it. I mean, that's a situation, I think, which I definitely call as a win-win situation. On this note, I would like to thank Justice Mehta sir. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out precious time. In fact, I've been hearing that he has been doing webinars after webinars these days. He's been talking to so many people in the legal fraternity, discussing on the mediation, imparting training. Prachi ma'am, I thank you to be a part of this. In fact, you also took out your precious
Thank
time
you.
to be a part of it. Uh, on this note, I would like to say, yeah, with Justice Mehta, I would like to quote him that mediate and not litigate. Yeah, so thank you so much. I once again would like to thank on behalf of Art of Living in association with Sakal. I would like to thank all the Sakal viewers, tag the ADR group, all the legal fraternity who's here, our esteemed lawyers, honorable judges, students, and whoever is a part of non-legal fraternity, and all my Art of Living friends who are a part of this. I thank you so much. Until next, thank you so much. Good night. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Himanshu.
Very, very nicely done, Himanshu. Thank you very much for organizing this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Himanshu.